everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Dad Music Podcast.
I'm a burrito.
This is episode 5. The guy sitting next to me dressed as a burrito is, in fact, a burrito. This is Quinn.
I'm a burrito.
And he says that I am Jay. I am his dad, and I'm a musician. And we're going to have a lot of fun today because we've got Michael Osborn of the band City of Auburn.
Burrito, a burrito ba.
That's right. It is going to be a lot of fun. Quinn, do you want to introduce our first song from City of Auburn called There Is Nothing?
Baba, burrito, baba. I'm a burrito, boo.
Works for me. And click.
Burrito.
Close my eyes and walk out. There's nothing left to see now. All I long and hope for me leaves me lifeless and empty, as if it's worth to work out the lack of life that's here now, and every hope I cannot see. Deal with daily anxiety. There is nothing I can hide. Keep it bottled up inside. There is nothing I can't face. There's nothing I can't hide. Keep it bottled up inside. There is nothing they could say that'll put me in my place. There is nothing in my way that'll change things anyway. There is nothing I can't hide. Keep it bottled up inside.
Well, thank you, Mr. Michael Osborn, for coming to the Dad Music Podcast. And this is our 5th episode. We started this over the winter. Basically, the way this works is we kind of tried to outline what we were going to talk about, but with an 11-year-old co-host and me with ADD, we're going to go off on some bunny trails, and we'll figure out where it goes, and however long we talk is however long we talk.
You got it, dude. It sounds like fun. Thanks for having me.
Yep, and we're on a budget here at Dad Music, so if we run out of time on the free Zoom, we'll send you another link and we'll just pick up where we left off.
I love it, man.
So, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm in my work parking lot. I just got off work maybe probably about 10 minutes ago. And I don't have a webcam at my house. I had one. It was attached inside my laptop, but my laptop died. And so I've now gone to a desktop, and now I don't have any of those cool little features that I guess I used to have. So that's why I was like, hey, do you mind if I do this from my car? Because it's kind of my only option. But no, I'm good. I ate way too much Olive Garden for lunch, so I'm sleepy. But no, I'm good, man. How are you?
Oh, we're great. I got off work at 5 o'clock Central. I don't know if you're in Central. I think you are. So we kind of rushed to get stuff put together. We went ahead and filmed our intro and kind of our reaction to the two songs. So we're pumped and ready to go. So as long as I don't see you driving down the highway while you're talking, I guess we're still all right. Gotta ask you though, I was on Facebook this morning, and there was a fun story about a smoothie. Oh, did you freeze?
I think I froze for a second. All I heard was a smoothie.
Yep. We had that fun story about a smoothie. Did you want to elaborate or further rant on that? Because that was pretty entertaining.
Okay, so so here's the thing. Like I can't have milk, and I break this rule all the time. I had ice cream yesterday or whatever, and I paid for it. It felt like I felt awful. So it's like, you know what? I really don't want to break any rules today. I can't. My stomach can't afford for this to happen. And I went to this place up the road, right by my work, to get like a smoothie. And so like it always becomes this thing for me where like different dairy products have different levels of casein, proteins, and stuff, which is what I'm allergic to in milk. And so, like, for example, this sounds super nerdy, but most people are lactose intolerant. I'm casein intolerant. So every level of a dairy product has a different percentage of casein in that, depending on how the dairy is made. So, like, for example, like I can have a scoop of ice cream and be okay, but I cannot have a cheeseburger. You know, like I cannot have cheese. Like it's just an absolute no, because the casein level in cheese is way higher than it is in milk.
That makes me so sad.
Boring. I know, dude. Like, you know how many times I've skipped out on chips and salsa? It's awful, you know. But that's super nerdy, boring stuff. What happened today is that I never know what places use as the base for smoothies. And I always have to ask, because there's this one dairy product, it's whey protein. And that's what people use for, you know, working out or whatever. It's super, you know, really don't know what it's used for. But people who work out have it. It's a protein thing. But whey protein will, like, take me out. Like, cannot breathe, cannot, you know, whatever. And a lot of smoothies, like Smoothie King, they have whey protein in it. So I always have to ask, can I please get this without? Because if you don't, I'm going to die. And so I went up to this smoothie place, and I was like, what is the base for your smoothies? And they were like, well, the base for our smoothies are like it's a combination of our fruit flavors and some ice cream.
Yeah,
and I was like, that's not a smoothie. That's a milkshake. That can't be a smoothie because you're using milk as like, oh my gosh. It just made me mad. And then I was like, can I do oat milk instead? And they were like, yeah. I mean, that's fine. But I know that's incredibly boring and very nerdy. But these are like the conversations I have on a daily basis. Like, can I please have no cheese? Can I please have no milk? Can I please, you know? And I become very aggravating.
I am so sad for you. Just not having any of the dairy. Like we're cheese people in this house.
Oh,
All sorts of
man.
mac and cheese, all sorts of cheeseburgers, chips and salsa,
Yeah.
pretzels and cheese.
I've always had like little tiny spoonfuls of mac and cheese. I've never had like a full bowl. And it's like, I get the hype. I do. I just have never been able to dive deep into those wonders.
Oh, I'm about to shed tears. Well, anyway, we just got back when we edit this all together.
Yeah.
We would have just got back from hearing your song. Which one were we doing first? There is nothing. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, like what's the story behind it? What was your inspiration and stuff?
It kind of ties into the whole record that it comes off because There Is Nothing is just one song off that EP, and the whole EP stemmed from it's not like a concept album or anything like that, but it is an album with a theme, and each song has the theme of everything is fear, and There Is Nothing was basically a song about I know it sounds cliche to say because a lot of artists say this or whatever, but having the fear of feeling anything at all, or the fear of opening up to feel emotion in any kind of intense way. And at that time in my life, I felt like I had all these emotions and all these stresses and angers that I felt like no one would care about, or no one would even take the time to hear me out or anything of that nature. And so I wrote this song. It sounds so anti-Christian or whatever, but I saw a Hillsong shirt that said there is more, and then I was in such a low state that I was like, what if I had a shirt that said there is nothing? And then that's where the title came from.
Yeah.
But it's a song. Basically it's a song about feeling like you are absolutely completely empty beyond any point of even caring about feeling something again, and almost the fear of dealing with what you're feeling. And what makes this song super personal to me is that when I was done writing that song, I had this self-realization that I have such a negative view of myself and the things that I find important, or the things that mean something to me emotionally. And it kind of put me in this point where I was reading over the lyrics and listening to the song and being like, oh my gosh, I need to figure some stuff out, and I need to actually talk about what I'm feeling. And I never really felt like that was kind of an option for me. I never really felt like talking about what I felt in the way that I choose to express it was welcomed or even allowed. And so basically what makes this song super special to me is that ever since we were done writing that song, I've been in counseling ever since, because it's in a lot of ways that song almost realigned my priorities for how I feel about myself. And it's interesting singing the song now, not feeling the same way I did when I wrote the record, because it almost feels like a celebration every time we play it live, because it's this is a place where I was at, and this is me reflecting on it in a more positive way.
Right.
And I think that it for me it put in this value of really opening up yourself in scary ways, whether it be to your friends or your community or even my parents. I feel like in many different ways it was kind of a song that kind of made me realign my priorities of trying to get myself back in order, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's boring, but I thought it's special to me.
Yeah, definitely.
And
it's kind of almost waving a flag of this is where I was at one point in my life, and we can celebrate that I'm not there anymore.
yeah, exactly. And I think that, you know, coming to a place where you can say, you know, there, you know, like even the line in the chorus where it's like, there's nothing I can't hide. And now it's like, I'm glad that I don't live by that anymore. Like, I'm glad that I can say like, no, I can be open and I can talk about what I'm feeling and be receptive and be, more openly human, I guess, in that way. And I love that song. And I'm glad you guys like it too. That means a lot to me.
Oh yeah, I like how it starts off real mellow and kind of just groove, and then by the end of it, it's just a nice rock song. Like it's got a good progression through it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought the song was going to eventually get rejected because of that, because I wanted it to be so mellow until about halfway through. But the guys loved it, so we ran with it.
I mean, personally, I'm a big fan of songs that do that. Like start off with an acoustic, and by the end you're screaming. Like I don't know, it's such a journey to just have that dynamic in a song, or start big and then cool it off for a little bit, go back to big. Like,
yeah,
music should be a journey, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like.
No, I like. Go first.
Go for it.
Yeah, I like songs that are just like, they're just like.
The burrito is waving.
Up and down.
Yeah.
So.
No, I'm the same way. It makes music actually interesting, and it makes music, you know, it takes you on a journey, and when it's the same dynamic the entire time, it gets kind of boring.
Yeah. I mean, there's several radio rock bands and metal bands out there that you almost can't tell one song from another just because of how single line it is. It's a flatlined heart monitor.
Yep.
And it's like,
yeah, exactly.
Let me keep my interest by giving me something else to listen to, I guess.
Yeah, like
right.
Yeah, like other songs, like a lot of songs just are like just different versions of other songs, kind of. They're just like the same thing, basically. But like I like songs that are still like kind of like that, but they're like still different. Like some like video games and stuff, like they're like every other video game, but they just add their little spin onto it. That's how I kind of like music too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
do you have a, sorry.
Go for it.
No, I was gonna say, do you have a favorite video game soundtrack?
I really like the Minecraft soundtrack, just because like that's really like calming and stuff. But
Human Fall Flat, you're really into.
Yeah.
The little piano interludes and.
Yeah.
It's got to be Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Any of the games for me. So.
Yeah, those are pretty good too.
But yeah, I think best video game soundtrack of all time has to be Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. Like, there's no comparison.
What's so funny is that my mom my mom does silly things sometimes where, okay, so like growing up, you know, we couldn't watch anything that was like PG-13. We couldn't, watch certain movies or play certain games or whatever. Like, we almost got Super Smash Brothers banned from the house because there were some Pokemon characters in it. And so we had to like convince them to be like, no, this isn't a Pokemon game. This is just Super Smash Brothers. But there was one time that Mom came home, and she came home with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. And and we were such good kids that we went up to Mom and we were like, hey, Mom, this game is rated T for teen. Like, I don't think we should be playing it. It's so like, we were such good kids that we rejected playing that game, and I never grew up on the soundtrack until like the last few years, where I'm finally getting back into all that music. And I'm like, man, I would have loved to have been raised on this.
Yep.
This is so dope.
So
that soundtrack is awesome.
And speaking of like different styles of music, so in listening to your songs, I actually played them on our big TV upstairs yesterday, because I'm convinced that I've heard kind of your sound before, like an early 2000s kind of emo rock kind of sound is what I would kind of liken it to. And I'm like, they sound kind of like somebody, but I can't place it. So who influences City of Auburn, if you don't mind me asking?
So for us, so it's the people who write the most, I guess, who write the music for City of Auburn is our guitar player Jordan and I. We really kind of like, we collaborate on a lot of stuff, but he's the actual guitar player. Like I can't play any of our songs. He's like the actual one, like writing it, and we're like going back and forth on a lot of stuff. And what's interesting is that me and him have a lot of the same similar tastes and values and stuff. So like when we were writing the Spinning EP and Where Does It Hurt, we were really listening to a ton of Anberlin. We were listening to a ton of Paramore. We love Chasing Safety, Under Oath. Of course, I love a lot of Under Oath, but that record is incredible to me. We even brought in a lot of like more of like our modern influences. Like we really love the 1975. We really like the Maine. And of course, maybe some heavier aspects too, like Being as an Ocean. But for like, if anyone asks like, what do we sound like, I'll always say like, kind of like an early school Paramore or an overall Anberlin.
You know, as soon as you said both of those names, as soon as you said both of those names, I was just immediately, I'm like, okay, that part and that part, yes. Like, I can definitely hear, especially in the second song that we're gonna play later on, Off the Block, kind of that main keyboard sound and like the guitar in the bridge is full on Paramore. Like it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we wanted, we wanted that upbeat type of feeling that you get from a Paramore record. You know, Brand New Eyes, or even After Laughter. We took some influence from that. We were reeling over that song and just how it's not every day that we make like an upbeat sounding song. So it was cool to make something that was a bit more dancey and drawing in some past and modern influences into that, making it just super fun to work on.
Oh yeah, I mean, lots of energy to it. Like you guys definitely hit the mark. I mean, I appreciate it. I don't know if I don't know if you remember talking to me at Audio Feed. I actually saw you guys in 2019. You were playing the I don't remember what the stage was called at that point, the indoor stage.
Yeah.
And we got to talking afterwards, and I'm like, dude, your stage presence kind of reminded me of Buddy Nielsen from Census Fail. And that's an odd comparison to make, but I'm like, stage wise, it's kind of there. And now that you're saying like the Paramore, the Anberlin. In fact, I remember seeing you. I think you played drums with Ravenhill that year.
I did. Yeah.
And you've even, some of your releases have been through Honeygold. Is that still a thing, or are you?
We're on our own now, but we released the Spinning EP through Honeygold.
Okay.
Okay, so Is it game time yet?
Right.
Oh yeah, okay. So what like led you to make this like type of like emo rock genre stuff?
Yeah, like where did it come from that you said, okay, this is kind of what we're going for?
It's strange because I grew up on like pretty contemporary like Christian music. Like I grew up on Michael W. Smith and Stephen Curtis Chapman, and I still have like a lot of love in my heart for that music. But I remember my brother was going to a youth group, and we were starting to get into, I guess under their influence of what bands were out there. And I come home one day and Reliant K is playing on our boombox, and we had to like hide our Reliant K CDs because we thought they were too heavy and too inappropriate. So we would, which is wild to think about now because they're like one of the most safe bands out there. But I remember getting into Reliant K and Newsboys and a lot of like the early like I guess Christian rock oriented type bands. And I got really into POD. I loved POD for such a long time. I still do. But I remember when my brother went to the youth group, he came downstairs. I went downstairs to our Colorado basement at the time, and the youth pastor was showing us the music video for Nothing Left from As I Lay Dying.
Ooh.
And which is like being sheltered from that type of music such a long time, and then the day that our youth pastor comes over, that's the first thing he shows us, and I'm like, what is this? This is insane. So I got really into metal while listening to Christian contemporary music, and then one day I found Paramore, and it's not that Paramore sounds like a metal band at all, but I found that there's that in-between of the Christian contemporary music that's very soft and accessible and it's easy to listen to. But then there's the metal, which is like, we're just going to express art in the most brutal, most, outspoken way we can. And then there's the middle ground, which is like the alternative bands, I felt like, because I felt like Paramore was writing something that was really expressive, but also very palatable. And so for me, like, I just got really into alternative bands. I got into Amberlin, I got into Underoath, I got into Paramore, I got into Sent by Ravens, I got into Sub 7, and I started just going down the list, like down the rabbit hole of a lot of Christian artists, but then, a lot of, non-Christian artists. And I just remember feeling like I feel the emotional pull to alternative music the most, because I felt like it's the most expressive and most palatable at the same time. And I always wanted to express myself in a way that the most amount of people can relate or hear. And I felt like that's what drew me into that, feeling like I could express myself in a way that was palatable and still not lacking in expression. If that all makes sense. I remember listening to Riot from Paramore, feeling like I want to do that. Whatever they're doing, I want it.
Yep.
I always felt like I wanted to make music like Paramore, but I just wanted to be in Paramore, And I was like, well, what's the thing that I can do? What's the closest thing I can get to that? It's like, okay, well, make music like Amberlin, and so we went with that. But that's how I got into it, just kind of exploring around different musical genres and kind of picking up what connected with me the most.
Okay. I mean, that sounds pretty good. Now, you guys have been a band for quite a while, with a few breaks in between. So what's kind of the history? Has it always been? You said you and Jordan was the other guitar player's name.
Yeah.
Is any other original people there, or like how did we get from there to here?
It's so when City of Auburn started, I started it. I mean, this sounds almost depressing, but I started it 10 years ago, this year, and I started it out as a solo project. So right now in the world, we have 3 EPs. And the first EP is called Soul Searcher, and that EP was done entirely by myself. So I'm playing everything on it. And I kind of realized that I don't like doing this alone. I'm not really the best guitar player. I'm not really the best, like, overall vision songwriter. So I wanted to expand our sound. And then I met Jordan pretty much a year later, and we had been writing some things. And then, like, our Spinning EP was our next EP that we did through Honeygold. And that was, like, I guess that was the start of the band. So we've been, like, a band since, like, 2017, 2018. But it was solo for a few years before then. But me and Jordan, Jordan's original, we have a keyboard player. His name's James. He played drums for City of Auburn when it was solo. So, like, when I do, like, a live show, James would play drums for me, but now he's in as a keyboard player now. So I guess me, Jordan, and James are, I guess, the originals. And then our bass player, Tommy, he came on for the Where Does It Hurt EP. And then we're playing with a guy named Carlos right now on drums.
Okay.
So we've been around for a hot minute, but it started off solo, and it just kind of gradually became something more.
Awesome.
Okay. Now we're going to start with the game.
Yep.
Which
we try to throw a curveball at you every now and then.
Yeah.
All right,
okay.
Let's do it.
Now we're gonna start with a game called Would You Rather.
All right, let's do
it. We try to come up with things that we can do through a video call. There's not a whole lot of games that we can get to, but Quinn, why don't you start us off with one?
Okay. The first one is tacos. Is tacos or burritos?
Would you rather have a taco or a burrito? Which, knowing that there's no cheese in the diet, I think is kind of a tipping point on that.
I would rather a burrito.
Okay.
Because for me, a burrito, you can have more ingredients within a burrito. You can be a little bit more experimental with how much rice and how much beans you have. Which for taco, it's kind of a limited amount. But for me, like if I go to Chipotle or something, I'm always gonna get the burrito over the taco. Always.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. Second one is puppies or kittens.
Oh.
And we're gonna find out that he's allergic to all of it.
Funny story. I am allergic to cats and dogs, but I will say, I love puppies so much, but oh man, this is so hard. I helped raise a kitten, so it's very difficult for me to like choose puppies over a kitten because I helped raise a kitten. So like I love kittens, I love cats. Oh man, gosh, and I can't say no. I'm gonna have to say kittens.
I say same.
I'm a dog person. Although both of our cats just love me for whatever reason, so I guess I just got hit in the face with a shark. 11-year-old co-host, in case I haven't pointed it out before.
That's incredible.
What's your next one, bud?
Would you rather your toes be as long as your fingers or your fingers as long as your toes?
So would you rather have toes that are this long or fingers that are as long as your toes?
I'd rather have that.
Really?
I would have my toes. I would have my toes be as okay. Because here's the thing: like I can lift things up with my hands with this.
Yep.
You know, with your toes, you're at a disadvantage because they're so small. I'm gonna have better traction. Yeah, it's gonna be awful buying shoes, but at least I can have better traction. I can stand up better. And if I need to grab something, I have a way better radius of grabbing something with my foot. I can go full monkey in my house or whatever. It's better. You can be a better climbing up trees. Probably a way faster runner, a higher jumper. Yeah, I would totally have longer toes versus having just nubs for everything. I would totally do longer toes.
Nice.
Yeah, you could just become an animal.
So,
You'll have 4 hands.
would you rather do a one chip challenge? So a chip that has all sorts of hot peppers and stuff, or do like a ghost pepper by itself?
Oh, I'd do the chip.
You would do the chip? Actually,
I would do the chip.
Have you done one of those?
I have not.
It's seriously terrible. Like, I went to Branson a couple years ago. I'm going to go off on a bunny trail here for a second. Went to Branson a couple years ago and went to a place called Pepper Palace, which is not sponsoring this video at all. If they want to, they can pay us. And I had to sign a waiver to try a hot sauce that they had. 1 drop of this hot sauce. And the guy was adamant. He said, do not get this on your skin. It will blister. And I'm like, cool. Let me shove this spoon of it in my mouth. And I put it in there. And I'm somebody that I can just stone face anything. And goodness, it stole my soul for about 5 minutes. And after it kind of started working, I was snotting and crying pretty good, but I was able to keep it stomach, keep it down, and it started to get better. But 5 minutes of the worst that I've ever had. But this chip, the combination of how dry and chalky it is, and the fact that I did it on an empty stomach probably didn't help. The heat was nothing, but the cramp in my gut was terrible. Like, I had to lay down for a few minutes.
Oh my god. I can't do spicy to begin with. So to do, gosh, I keep talking about all the things I can't eat and I'm allergic to. I can't do spicy. Like my stomach just can't process it. So my my go-to between the chip and the ghost pepper is that with the ghost pepper, I know exactly what I'm going to get. I'm going to get probably the worst thing in my life. With the chip, I don't know what I'm going to get, and it might be a little better, but I don't know. So like that's my logic. It's like it might end up being okay, but with the ghost pepper, it's going to be 100% a bad time.
Right.
But I might be wrong with the chip.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap up the game there, and what we'll do is we'll move on to your next track off the block. So we'll edit it in right here.
Okay.
Every
we are back with more of the Dad Music Podcast. And Quinn's going to get us back going again.
Okay, so we just listened to your song Off the Block. Can you tell us a little bit about that one? I noticed that it's a little bit more like heavier and stuff, but yeah, like what was more like inspiration and stuff? What was the story behind it?
Off the Block is I don't know if this is the right word, but like it's a euphemism for it's basically combating writer's block. And so there's this one line of the song where I say like it's time to get up back off, like I forget the word, but and get up off the block again. You know, like it's a reference to writer's block, because when we were done with spinning that EP, me and Jordan were kind of disappointed with how that EP did, with how much, I guess, like resource we put into it. And by all like available, you know, I guess like quote unquote metrics, you know, or industry, you know, numbers, like it was an abysmal failure. And so I mean, I was extremely bitter for like months. I was just so angry over how, you know, you could pour that much into a project and have it not, you know, have it not succeed in the way that maybe you want it to succeed, or not have it be to the wide scale standard that you want it to.
Yeah, I can kind of relate to that with my YouTube channels and stuff. A lot of times I'll have like maybe like maybe like one video that gets okay views, but most of my videos just like flop, and they don't really succeed. You need to like build that, like you need to like build it up.
Well,
right.
I'm a big Seattle Seahawks fan, which is weird because we're in the Midwest, but I love it, and I love the culture that's there. They had a wide receiver that after they lost a game that like kicked him out of the playoffs or something like that, his name's Doug Baldwin, and one thing that he said in his press conference after was, we learn more from our failures than we do our successes. And as artists, especially musicians, writers, you know, almost any kind of artist, you're going to have a lot of failures, but the you know, handful of successes you have are so awesome.
No, exactly. I mean, I think you kind of nailed it, like that quote nailed it on the head, but that's what Off the Block is really about. It's almost kind of like a self-aware song over like, I don't want to write music right now, so I'm going to write a song about not wanting to do music. And it's being, you know, being self-aware over the fact that, you know, I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with music. I you know, like I said, how the record has a theme of fear. You know, the Off the Block is about fear of the future, or like fear of passion. And I think that like focusing all your energy on something that you love and to have it not succeed in the way you want it to, it's a genuine hurt to you know, like imagine all the movie directors who made movies and then nobody liked them, you know, but they might be good movies, or they might not, you know, like, you know, but to create art or to create an experience and have it not be received the way that maybe you wanted it to, or even get in front of all the people you wanted it to get in front of, or whatever. But for me, it Off the Block was the first song we wrote for that EP, and it just kind of like it kind of reset my focus a bit over like, no, we still can do this, and we still can push into what we want to do as artists. And I think Off the Block is a way more resilient song than maybe I give it credit for, because it really it set the tone for the entire EP. That was the first song we wrote for it, and but it's truly a song about, you know, pushing through and making sure that you don't let your failure be the thing that holds you back from anything else.
Right.
As cliche as that is, but as wholesome as I could make it, it's truly about like getting back up on the horse again and doing your best to keep continuing doing what you want to do, regardless of how it turns out.
Right. As an artist, you have to have thick skin. You got to be some of the most vulnerable people that you could ever meet.
Yep.
Another little dime of a quote here. I'm just dropping names and stuff out of the blue. Burt McCracken from The Used. He was asked about their album Vulnerable, and his kind of reaction or his kind of mission statement for that album was the heart and soul of great art is the ability for the artist to become vulnerable. Yep. I think I might have paraphrased or butchered that a little bit, but that one has stuck with me for, I think that album came out like 15 years ago. And
yeah, I mean, he nails it on the head. I mean, I don't think that art, I don't even think art is any good if an artist isn't vulnerable. It makes it personal, and it makes the music more elevated to the listener, knowing that they can connect with something. And what's also funny is, that applies to everything. Like, it applies to the movies we watch, it applies to the books we read, it applies to the video games we play. If we don't feel connected and we don't feel like the character that we're embodying or experiencing or listening to, if we don't feel like they're being vulnerable, there's something that we can relate to or grab onto, then we're disinterested.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so many characters in movies nowadays that, they're just badly written characters, or there's songs about nothing. And you're just kind of like, this isn't the thing that connects with me, because truly there's nothing here for me to get attached to. And that's not to say that, you can't just write like a fun party song or whatever and just have it be what it is. I'm not saying that. But I think that great art comes from a place of vulnerability, not from a place of status or having fun, if that makes sense.
Right. So,
paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Paraphrasing.
Yeah. Okay. So, this is the most important time of the podcast. We need you to tell us how we can find you and like where you are located.
So shout out all the socials.
Don't shout out where you actually are though.
he can. He's in a parking lot.
Oh, that's awesome. So you can find City of Auburn on every social media. So on Twitter, it's City of Auburn Music. On Facebook, it's City of Auburn Music. On Twitter, I guess that's X now. It's like City of Auburn _ because City of Auburn Music has been taken by an actual City of Auburn music band. And then you can support us the most by basically looking at any of our merch on Bandcamp or our vinyl records, or giving us just a follow. As we gear up to release more music and more releases, especially this year, it just helps us so much plan things out, knowing that there's just fans out there that are wanting the next product or the next thing that we're going to do.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, because even when we played Audio Feed that one year, and when everybody at the table bought a vinyl, it was just wild, because that paid for our gas to go home, and I think that it just goes such a long way. That's the best way to support us, and to let somebody know about us. I think that word of mouth goes underrated a lot. I think that going up to your friends and saying, hey, this is a band I like, or this is a movie I like, or this is word of mouth goes such a long way.
So tour plans, merch drops. I know a week or two ago you said that new music is in the mastering phase, I believe.
Yeah, so right now we have a brand new album on the way. It's a full-length record, so not an EP or a single or anything, full 10 tracks. And we released a song about a year ago, maybe a little less than a year ago, called Indecision. that'll be on the new record. But we're mixing the new record right now, getting all things kind of finalized. But we should have a new single probably in the next month and a half.
Awesome.
And then I think we'll do 2 more, or maybe 1 more, and then the hope is to release the record in the fall. And I'm super excited for it. There are no current touring plans, but there's a few calls I got to make actually tomorrow and this week. So hopefully something happens from that. Something gets birthed out of that.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to see you at Audio Feed again, if you can make that happen, or anything you can find in Illinois. Quinn and I come see you.
That'd be awesome.
When you get new stuff out, definitely send me a message, and we'll help put the pre-save links and stuff on our pages. And our job is to help celebrate you as an artist, man. So we want to do what we can. Obviously, we're not bribing you to be here, but we want to try to get you as many follows and plays and stuff as we can. I mean, that's the main goal.
Thank you. That means the world to me.
So yeah, pre-save links, your new singles, pre-order packages, anything that you want to send, we'll help you promote it.
Thank you.
As part of that, we added all of your stuff to the Dad Music Podcast playlist on Spotify. Right now, we're at about 7 hours worth of just mixture of music, anything from you guys to Ravenhill. There's some spoken word in there, some emo, kind of poppy emo, a lot of cool stuff.
All of it.
Yeah, all of it.
All of it.
But
all of it.
We just want to make a giant collective of all the artists that come on, and if we run out of space on that playlist, we'll start another one for season 2 or something. But as much as we can do to help you out, we want to do that. So we've got a few minutes left here. Typically, we kind of just open up the floor to give you kind of final thoughts with City of Auburn. If you kills me sometimes. If you would like to just share what's on your heart, anything that you want people that listen to this podcast to know, you have the floor.
Oh man, nothing really comes to mind too much. I think that, I think mostly for me, it's really hard to kind of find your footing or your voicing in the art space. I think it's really hard for people to kind of find like their audience or their people or their community and stuff. And what we have found is a City of Auburn is to involve yourself with people who actually, and it sounds cliche, but to find people not only that will accept you, but to find people that equally challenge you. Because we've been in so many spaces where we're like, hey, we wrote this song, what do you guys think? And instead of having a whole bunch of people are just like, oh, you're the greatest or whatever, you have people that are like, I don't think this is it, dude. And feeling like there's actually a support system of criticism versus just people who are just supporting you all the time. And on top of that, like, if you find art that you believe in, you got to tell your friends about it. Like there's so many times where I'm a big movie guy. If I see a movie, I'm telling all my friends, like, oh my gosh, you have to see this movie. And I think that I wish that, I just encourage people to have that level of enthusiasm for the things that you like. Because at the end of the day, like when you share around things that you like and you tell people how much you're passionate about the things that interest you, that's when we actually connect as humans, knowing like, hey, what's that thing that makes Michael tick, or what makes Quinn tick? What's the thing that makes Keith click? I think that that the things that we share with one another are the things that connect us to one another. And I think that if you're a fan of what we do, connect with somebody telling somebody about what we do, or connect with somebody about something that impacted you. And that might sound cheesy and cliche and overtly motivational or whatever, but that's just the random thought that comes to mind.
Oh, that's definitely what we look for in these. You know, whatever's on your heart that you want to share, and however you want to share it. It's kind of, if you've got one more message to give to the listeners of the Dad Music Podcast, I mean, that was it. You hit it on the head.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm somebody that can always bounce things if you need that sounding board as well. Just from a personal note, I've had people send me stuff before, and I'll tell you honestly what I think about it. Obviously, all the good stuff, but I'll say, you know, maybe this section could use a guest vocalist in the bridge or something.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
But we're fans of music. That's what we want to continue to be. We want to help drive that forward. So, well, anyway, I think we're getting close to wrapping things up here like a burrito.
Burrito.
We've come full circle with the burrito blanket.
Burrito.
And we're overloading the microphones.
Burrito.
That's around the time that I typically will just mute him. So, but anyway,
I like your burrito, dude.
we
I like burrito.
we definitely want to thank you for hanging out with us. I'm sure you're uncomfortable in the car, and
Oh, no problem. No problem.
and we can definitely go ahead and let you get on with your night. But seriously though, send us some stuff, and we want to help you get the word out about City of Auburn, because you guys are killing it. So
Thank you so much for having me. Y'all are awesome. Y'all have an amazing night.
yeah, you too, bud. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for the 5th episode of the Dad Music Podcast. I hope you had fun, because I had fun. We had fun. He's a burrito. Please check us out on all of our socials, as well as on the Dad Music Podcast, where you can get all of the music from all of the artists that have been on the Dad Music Podcast. All of them.
All of it.
And the burrito has spoken.
I'm a burrito.
Also, check out Mr. Michael Osborn and his project City of Auburn, and all the stuff that they're doing. Obviously, when they come out with some new stuff, we're going to be sharing that and helping you guys find it as well. Until next time, we are the Dad Music Podcast, and this has been episode 5. And click.